Come on now. Stop acting like I'm not talking to you. You frozen in time. Your current beliefs were shaped by a past experience. So what's the solution? Well, if my current belief, it ain't even confusing. It's not even a trick question. If my current belief was shaped by a past experience, guess what? The only way to formulate a new belief is to do what? Have a new experience. If I'm the type of person whose beliefs are shaped by experiences, I need a new experience to override the last one so I can create new beliefs.
Optimal health is not a privilege, it's a right. However, unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of health challenges today can be attributed to lifestyle. This includes our physical activity, the quality of our relationships, stress, purpose and fulfillment, and of course, our diet. But what if there was an alternative? What if we could prevent and combat these health challenges with lifestyle changes before pills and procedures? You are listening to the Plant Protocol podcast with yours truly, plant-based health and business coach, and now the forever voice in your head, Lisa A. Smith. It's time to come get this health.
So I'm preparing to uproot my entire life off of a split-second decision. As a matter of fact, right before I hopped on live today, maybe just 10 minutes ago, I was on the phone with a relocation service. And this relocation service is trying to get an idea of where I'm going and how much it's going to cost me to move me there, because last November, I made a split-second decision. And so now I'm moving from Houston to New Jersey off of a split-second decision. And this split-second decision was to go back to school. So I'm preparing to move to New Jersey, specifically Princeton, New Jersey, to attend Princeton. And the decision to attend Princeton was not a year-long decision. It was not a 6-month deliberation. It wasn't something that I have been playing around with in my mind for months or years. The decision to go to Princeton and relocate to the state of New Jersey happened in a split second during a brief conversation with my friend Brandy Harvey. So what I'm here to share with you is that all decisions don't require as much thinking as we give them. And what I'm about to break down to you guys is going to illustrate that, because overthinking is one of the most dangerous, unhealthy habits to have, because it often delays our assignment. It often delays the goals and the dreams that we're meant to be pursuing. It often delays the transformations and the people that we're meant to be in service to. But for a lot of us, our overthinking is keeping us stalled, or maybe we're not completely stalled, but our steps are so small, the steps are so baby that we're barely seeing any difference in our overall quality of life or contribution to society. And so this past week, I had the pleasure of speaking at the 1% conference in Chicago, Illinois. And I spoke twice on the first day. And then on the second day, I had the pleasure of being on the panel with some wonderful, wonderful women. And we held a more intimate Q&A session with the attendees at the conference. And there were two major things that I noticed kept recurring in the questions of the attendees. And one is centered around overthinking, and the other one is centered around having a lot of options and not knowing which one to go with. And so I want to talk about overthinking. I want to talk to you about 3 reasons you're likely overthinking and what to do about it, so that if you are constantly finding yourself in a state of analysis paralysis, we can move you forward as quickly as possible. Like I told you, as we speak right now, I am uprooting my entire life off of a split-second decision. Something that was not on my bingo card for 2026 or 27, something that I never once even considered doing. I thought that when I got my MBA many years ago, that I was done with school. I never considered going back to school. And so I am now preparing to relocate to do just that, because the program that I'm taking, there is no virtual option. So not only am I going back to school off of a split-second decision, I am relocating because there isn't a virtual option. So I have to be present on campus in order to complete this program. And this is not something that I thought long and hard about. As a matter of fact, I didn't have time to, because the application was due on December 1st. And I found out about the opportunity on November 17th whilst in Atlanta with Brandy Harvey doing an interview on Vault Empowers. And she suggested that I apply for this opportunity. And so I did. And when I got accepted to Princeton, I went ahead and decided in that split second that I was going to move. And I already know, it's three of us that are going, me, Brandy, and another one of our friends. And it's three of us that are going. And we were on a Zoom call a couple of weeks ago, all just talking about moving, the relocation and all that. And we were all pondering on what God has in store for us, having, three successful Black women preparing to attend Princeton, all got accepted into the same program, all going to be living together. We were like, what is brewing in the atmosphere? And we are all so excited about what's to come. But it was a split second decision. I did not spend a whole bunch of time researching and deliberating. I didn't spend a whole bunch of time asking 2, 3, and 18 people what they think I should do. I didn't spend a whole bunch of time seeing who had been through the program too and what were the results and what it looked like. There was just something about it that felt right. And I decided to choose and honor my gut instinct. And so I'm here to teach you how to do that more often, right? I'm not here to teach you how to be irresponsible. I'm not here to teach you to stop all analysis, stop all research and development. But I am here to encourage you that when the divine download comes, when the gut instinct speaks, that it's safe to listen to it. But I also, most importantly, want to tell you 3 reasons why you are likely overthinking based on what I've seen as a coach for the past 10 years. Y'all know all my data comes from y'all, right? And so when I'm teaching this stuff, these are real world, real things, real lived experiences that you guys have articulated to me. And so when I'm telling you your issue, it's because you told me your issue in private and I just came here to share it with the masses. Let's get into it. 3 reasons for overthinking and what to do about it. This comes from a decade of coaching. So this comes from thousands of you guys who I had the pleasure of either privately or publicly coaching. I've had the pleasure of answering your questions during some type of speaking engagement. I've had the pleasure of replying to your emails when you reach out. I've had the pleasure of sending voice notes in your DMs on Instagram when you tell me I need help. And so I'm about to break down to you an amalgamation of all of that data, all of the reasons I've heard of why we're overthinking. Note takers, drop it in the chat. Here we go. Number 1, the very first reason I have seen people overthink themselves to inaction is indecisiveness. This means too many options. I have too many options. So, coach, I don't know what to do first. I want to start this business, but I got this nonprofit where I want to service the babies, but also I want to do this clothing line, or I have this book or this children's book. I want to get out there, but then I also want to do some speaking, but then I also want to do real estate, but then I also want to do some coaching. But then also everybody knows me for doing hair. But then in my gut, I'm called to help women because I'm also a survivor of domestic violence. So I want to help that. And so options. And I don't know where to start. So I am now overthinking, right? I am now in my head. How do I do all of this? How do I do it all at once? And it's so much because I want to help people this way, but I'm also being called to do this. And oh my God, 2 people asked me if I'd be willing to sell them this. And I was like, so then I went in the lab and started making those things to sell. And I have so many options. So reason number 1 that I've seen individuals get stuck in analysis paralysis and begin to overthink everything is too many options, which leads to indecisiveness. Okay, here's the solution for option number 1. Now, I want to get through these reasons fairly quickly so that maybe you guys can ask some questions at the end. But here's the solution if you're dealing with too many options, so much so that you can't make a decision. Find out what it takes from someone who's done it at a very high level, and they'll get you down to one option real quick. So if you want to write If you want to speak, if you want to do a nonprofit, if you want a clothing line, if you have an idea for a supplement, if you want to be a coach, you have all of these options, right? Or let's say you already got a business and you like, Coach Lisa, I listen to you all the time. You done told me 50, 11 times that I need to be creating content online, but I don't know if I should do a YouTube channel. I don't know if I want to do Instagram. I don't know if I want to do LinkedIn Live. Should I go crazy on TikTok? Options. And so you're overthinking everything and you're not creating content. Okay, listen to me. I'm going to say the solution one more time. Find out what it takes to do it at a high level, and that will narrow down your options very quickly. Everything cannot be done at a high level, but you can do everything mediocre at once. When you think you can do multiple things at once, it's likely because you've never been exposed to an excellent version of it. So here's the even more simplified solution takeaway for this one. You have to adopt a spirit of excellence and not just a spirit of execution. So what does that mean? That means if you want to be a speaker and you want to be an author and you want to start a podcast and you're not sure which one, and you like, I'm just going to maybe do a little bit of each one because somebody said they like my voice, but then somebody had asked me to speak over here, but then you need to attach yourself, increase your proximity to a speaker that's doing it at the highest level. You need to attach yourself to someone who has really made their book their number one source of revenue, author at a high level. You need to attach yourself to someone who is YouTubing at a really high level. Your issue is you have not been exposed to excellence with each one of those options. And so in your mind, they're all probable. When you understand that excellence requires way more time, energy, resources, and capacity, you will know right away, oh, I can't have a physical product and a nonprofit and a side hustle all at once because they're all going to be done in mediocrity because I'm thinking just the product or service is what needs my attention, not realizing that all of the back end, all of the systems, all of the tech, all of the customer service, then I need a funnel to retain clients. And then I need a funnel to get new opportunities and new leads into this offer. The issue is you've only been exposed to mediocrity. But when you get exposed to excellence, you will quickly learn that all of these ain't really an option. Like, it's no way I can have a speaking career plus do this. Plus, there's no way I can be excellent on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. You think you got options, what you have is a spirit of mediocrity. Because when you have a spirit of excellence, when you make a decision and when you learn what it truly takes to be excellent on that one thing, you'll realize it's way more than what you imagine. This past week when we were in Chicago, I was speaking at the 1% conference. When you understand what it takes to be in the 1% as a speaker, when you understand what it takes to be in the 1% as a coach, when you understand what it takes to be in a 1% as a YouTuber, you will realize you actually don't have the capacity for TikTok and a podcast like you thought you should. Your issue is not just indecisiveness, it's a spirit of mediocrity. When you have a spirit of excellence, you know straight away to make this thing as good as I want to make it, to make it as transformative as I want to make it, I actually have to put way more time, energy, and focus into this. I can't just do a half thrown together video and post it. I need to research how to do good titles. I need to research how to put together a good outline for a good talk. I need to research how to read and break down the metrics on this particular platform. You're not about to do that all at a high level on all 5 platforms you're considering. You ain't got to overthink. All you need to do is be exposed to excellence. And when you get exposed to excellence, then you will recognize I ain't got as many options as I thought I had. Not because they not all options, it's because I don't have the capacity. When you only operate in excellence, your options come down real quick. You ain't got the capacity for all that, right? And so to solve your indecisive problem, find out what it takes to operate with excellence with all the options you're considering. You want to write a book and you want a clothing line. You want to be present on all these different things. Find out now don't look at just TikTok. Look at the top 1% of TikTokers. Don't just look at YouTube. Look at the top 1% of YouTubers. Don't just look at coaches. Look at the top 1% of coaches. And then you will realize, oh, to have a coaching business is more than enough. How dare me thought I was about to go out here and do anything else until I built this to a level of excellence and with enough automation to operate on its own. I'm not allowed to do nothing else because my spirit of excellence says I'm going to master this. I'm not just going to execute this. Does that make sense, y'all? So overthinking, number one, is caused from too many options. But the reason you have the illusion of too many options is because you have a spirit of mediocrity. Excellence makes you quickly realize I ain't got as much options as I thought I had. Huh? Okay. Everybody got that? Come on now. I just called you out. Spirit of mediocrity got you the illusions of options. All right. Sip it. The first reason I overthink is because I got a spirit of mediocrity. I'm indecisive because I really thought I could do all the things, but that's only because I think execution is the win and I haven't made excellence the win. Okay. That's number one. You think you got options. And so you're overthinking because you think all of them are available to you. They not. Just see, I am very close with the number one motivational speaker, Dr. Eric Thomas. And when I got proximity to speaking at a high level, I realized I don't have the capacity for as much as I thought I had. Does that make sense, y'all? When I got proximity to people who were doing it at the top, I realized I can't do this and that and that and that. Either I'm going to dominate here or I'm going to dominate over there. But it's nearly impossible to dominate in multiple places, but you absolutely can be mediocre in a whole bunch of places at once. So trade in your spirit of mediocrity for a spirit of excellence, and you'll realize you ain't got as many options as you thought. Somebody say amen and let me know we can go to number two. Okay, really go refresh your emotional support beverage. This one is going to hurt a little bit because the second reason that you're overthinking, note takers, you're frozen in time. Reason number two that you're overthinking, you're frozen in time. Let me break it down. You've allowed a regional experience to form a universal belief. You frozen in time. You've allowed a regional experience to form a universal belief. So here's what happened. You had an experience and you got disappointed. Okay? You had an experience and you got disappointed. And as a result, it has tainted everything that's meant to come after that. So let me give you a few examples of how you're frozen in time. Okay? You tried to start a business. You tried to sell something. People didn't buy your offer. They didn't buy your thing, whether it was a service-based business or product-based business. People didn't buy your thing. And as a result of that regional experience, you've developed a universal belief that says, I'm bad at business. I don't know what my purpose is. Let me give you another example. You were in a long-term relationship, maybe even a marriage, and it didn't work out. Unfortunately, it ended in divorce or separation. And you took that regional experience and you formed a universal belief that says, I'm not worthy of love, or I can't trust myself to pick good partners. You had a regional experience. You formulated a universal belief. Okay. Let me give you another example. You decided you were going to get into the content game and you decided to start creating content online, and you did some content on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or whatever it is, and nobody showed up, or you didn't really get any views, right? You didn't get really any engagement. And so you took that regional experience and decided to believe that nobody wants to hear what I have to say. And so as a result of these regional experiences, you formed a universal belief. And now the next time you're even considering doing something similar, you overthink because you don't trust yourself. You don't think you're good enough now. It didn't work out the first time. And so now you don't think it's going to work out again because one failed business, one failed relationship, your last attempt at losing weight didn't work out. And so now you developed a universal belief that says, I'm undisciplined. I'm inconsistent, right? I break promises to myself. And so you've allowed that one experience to keep you right. You still frozen in time. Your mind and your identity is still back at that last experience. And so now you bring in this baggage into the future. And now you can't move forward. Because you like, man, last time it didn't work. So now nobody wants to hear what I have to say, or nobody's going to love me, or I'm going to get rejected again. You took a regional experience, formulated a universal belief about yourself. And now everything you've tried to do since that experience has been colored by that last disappointment. You've frozen in time. Here's what happened. You had an experience that created a belief about yourself, about your circumstance, about your capability, right? Well, if your current beliefs have been shaped by your experience, guess what that means? You could have a new experience to create a new belief. It's the only way out. Your last experience shaped your current belief. And the reason you're overthinking is because you're frozen in time. You're frozen at that last experience. It traumatized you so much that you're having a hard time moving forward. You were betrayed by a friend. You were betrayed by a partner. You were betrayed by a family member. Now you can't you can't make new friends, right? You can't trust people again. Now you can't even delegate. Let me just do everything myself. Last time I asked for help, they didn't help. So now I'm frozen in time, which means now I try to do everything myself because in my mind, asking for help is not safe. You allowed a regional experience to formulate a universal belief. And now you're overthinking, can't ask help, can't let love in, can't let help in, can't be vulnerable anymore. It's not safe to be. I was vulnerable one time or two times and it wasn't received well. And so now my whole identity is stuck back there. And so now going forward, what God is calling me to requires me to be vulnerable. It requires me to ask for help because the assignment is too big, but I can't because I'm frozen in time back there. So now I'm overthinking going forward because I'm taxed. I'm stretched. It's too much, but not because it's really too much. It's because I can't ask for what I need because I'm still frozen in that last experience. Come on now. Stop acting like I'm not talking to you. You frozen in time. Your current beliefs were shaped by a past experience. So what's the solution? Well, if my current belief, it ain't even confusing. It's not even a trick question. If my current belief was shaped by a past experience, guess what? The only way to formulate a new belief is to do what? Have a new experience. If I'm the type of person whose beliefs are shaped by experiences, I need a new experience to override the last one so I can create new beliefs. Okay. Can I give y'all an example real quick, a real simple example of how this works in real time? Okay. Because sometimes we get so traumatized. What happens when you have an experience? You ask for help, they didn't help, or they hung it over your head for so long, right? What happens when you got married and you thought y'all was supposed to be forever, happily ever after, and it didn't work out? And you like, I can't trust myself to pick partners. I can't trust myself to get married again. I can't trust myself to date again. I can't trust you. Frozen in time, right? Okay. So what happens when you eat something and it's not yummy, and then you like, oh, I'm never doing that again. I'm never trying that again. I'm never cooking that again. Okay. So let me tell you how to override that. A couple months ago, last year, I fell on a treadmill. Last year, y'all. Now listen, two things. Number one, I was wearing biker shorts. It's important to note, I never wear biker shorts, but this particular time I decided to wear these shorts to the gym. Now matter of fact, this might've been the first time in my life that I've ever wore shorts to the gym on me, on me. This might've been the first time that I ever wore shorts in the gym. And it would be the time that I fall off the treadmill. And I didn't just fall off the treadmill. Let me be honest, okay? Let me be honest before God. I flew off the treadmill, okay? So I was running at an incline of like 10. The incline was like 10. The speed was like maybe 7 or 8 miles per hour. And I was doing sprints. And so I was meant to jump off onto the sides to rest after that, 30-second sprint or whatever it was. And my foot missed the situation and your girl went flying. Now, mind you, I had on biker shorts. Mind you, I never wear biker shorts to the gym. So this time that I wore biker shorts to the gym, legs all out, I went flying off the treadmill. Now, listen. Instantly, legs started bleeding, things started happening. I'm sore. It hurts. It's a nightmare, right? Now, what does the human brain say? There was two things. Number one, I was wearing biker shorts. Number two, I was doing this particular high intensity interval, this HIIT routine on the treadmill that I had never really done that. I had done it before, so it wasn't my first time doing it, but it was still a fairly new HIIT routine running at this incline. Never run. An incline of 10 is insane on a treadmill. Who exercise on a treadmill, y'all know. An incline of 10 is a pretty high incline, right? And then a speed of 8 is a pretty high speed. So to be running at an 8 with an incline of 10, that was a new routine for me on the treadmill. And I'm also wearing shorts. So I was running in these shorts with this new workout routine, and I went flying off the treadmill. Now, what does the human brain say immediately when that happens? Tell me, something like that happens, a whole bunch of newness, new outfit, new HIIT routine, and then you go flying off the treadmill. What does the human brain instantly want to do? Come on, Kiavia. She dropped it right in the chat. I'm never doing this again. That's what the brain says. The brain says, we fail. It hurt. This is unsafe. I don't know if it was the shorts and the routine, just the shorts, just the routine, but baby, I'm done. I'm done with both of them. Okay. From now on, we run with a no incline. And from now on, we wear long leggings, right? The brain will say, let me find all the things I'm never going to do again so that I don't fall again. Right? Exactly. Lorene said, won't be back. Right. And listen, it was the gym where I live. So I'm like, oh, I got to come back tomorrow because I ain't about to drive nowhere. Right. But the brain naturally says, what, guys? I'm not doing this no more. That's how my brain talks. We ain't doing this no more. Okay. And so here's what needs to happen. Here's what I knew. Immediately in that moment, like immediately when I flew off the treadmill, here's what I knew in that moment immediately. I knew that I had to get up and run again immediately because I only have a small window to not get stuck here mentally. Listen to me. I knew immediately, Lisa, you got to do this routine again. You got to run this back because if not, you're going to get stuck here. I literally remember saying to myself, let me hurry up and do that again so that last experience doesn't become the story that shapes my treadmill experience. Come on. Listen, that's what happened to many of you. And that's where your overthinking comes from. When that disappointing thing happened, that hurt and bruised up your knees and had your legs bleeding, you said immediately, you made a decision never to do that again. You made a decision, I never want to feel like this again. You made a decision, I never want to be hurt again. And so you got stuck there. I knew, I said, ooh, let me go bandage up, but I got to do this routine again. Because if not, it's going to have more power over me than I have over it. I knew in the moment, if I'm not careful, this experience of me flying off the treadmill is going to shape my relationship with treadmills. How many of you has let the last failed relationship shape your relationship with relationships? How many of you have let the last no in your business shape your relationship with sales? How many of you have let the last criticism from somebody shape your relationship with being vulnerable? You stuck in time. You frozen in time. That's all it is. The second reason you overthink, you're frozen in time because the exact thing that you need to do to move forward, you can't. You constantly overthinking about it, deliberating. Should I ask for help? Should I invest in myself? Last time I invested in myself, I feel like I didn't get an ROI. So now I can't invest in myself this time. So now I'm overthinking this investment that I know I need to make because I feel like my last investment didn't work out. You frozen in time. And so if experiences shapes beliefs, how do I get unfrozen? No. How I thaw out. Shout out to the Black households, baby. How do I thaw out? That's the question, okay? Because we keep it melanated over here. How do I thaw out? If I'm frozen in time, how do I thaw out a new experience? You have to. You got to get back on the treadmill. And quickly, now many of you have already missed that narrow window you have to avoid this experience becoming an embedded belief, but it's not too late. It's not too late to thaw out. You just now understand, now I got to ask for help again and let it turn out differently. Now I got to date again and watch it turn out differently, right? Now I got to run on a treadmill again at an incline of 10 and let it turn out differently. I have to disprove the belief that's trying to etch itself into my subconscious mind telling me it ain't safe to run at an incline of 10 at 7 miles per hour. I got to disprove it quickly because if not, I'm going to stay there. And every time I replay it in my mind, I'm going to make it worse and worse. I got to thaw out. I got to thaw out. Come on now, you frozen in time. You got to get unfrozen so you can move forward. All the overthinking. Maybe I should just do the elliptical. Well, they was talking about the Stairmaster is good for you. What's this rowing machine all about? Get back on the treadmill. Get back on the treadmill. You frozen. You frozen there. You walking past it. You looking at it. It's looking at you. That treadmill got way more power over you than have. Why? Why does the machine have more power over you than you have over it? You frozen in time. Y'all got it? We got the first two. Here's the final one.
Hey, it's Coach Lisa. If you've been feeling overwhelmed or stretched thin or like you know what to do, but you just haven't had the capacity to get it done, this is for you. We recently released our newest coaching program, and it's called the Gold Handle Club. And this is the Imperfect Founders Edition. It's designed to help you eliminate chronic stress one intentional moment at a time. And it's designed, most importantly, to feel easy as opposed to a high pressure program. This isn't another course that you have to keep up with. It's a simple daily ritual paired with real coaching and community support designed to fit into your life and not overwhelm it. Here's how it works. The Gold Handle arrives at your door, and every morning for about 5 to 10 minutes, you sit still in silence. You scan the QR code, and every single day, new content unlocks a daily practice built around our signature HER method for eliminating chronic stress, not managing it, but eliminating it. And because this is our Imperfect Founders Edition, we're doing something super special. You're getting your Gold Handle on us. All you'll cover is shipping. Plus, your first 30 days inside of the club and community are completely complimentary so that you can actually feel the difference before making any commitment. So if you're ready to stop pushing off those major decisions that need to be made, those uncomfortable conversations that need to be had, those mindset shifts and that healing that needs to happen now, this is your opportunity to get coached through that without feeling like there's another big appointment on your calendar. This is designed to fit into your quiet time to yourself every morning. So click the link in the show notes, join us inside of the Gold Handle Club, take advantage of the Imperfect Founders special offer, and I cannot wait to coach you to optimal health and radical obedience. Now back to the show.
The third and final reason you're overthinking, note takers, is because you have a middle class mindset. Okay. Now, a middle class mindset has a low tolerance for uncertainty. A low tolerance for uncertainty. Okay. So when you have a middle class mindset, what that means is you've worked so hard to arrive in the middle. You've worked so hard to accumulate what you have, meaning you are not by any means living in poverty, right? You are not by any means living, at the lowest level, right? You definitely have more. You are able to pay your bills and have a little leftover. You do have, some income and some opportunities that allows you to do kind of have an above average quality of life, right? The middle class means you've probably have some degrees and some education with the student loans to match, right? You probably own a home. You probably got some investments that you trying to secure your future and your retirement. You probably have 1 to 2 kids. You probably have, a decent vehicle, if not a nice vehicle. You got some bills. You probably have a position or a job or a business that requires some skill sets, right? You're not super easily replaceable. Like somebody got to go to college and have some experience to replace you, right? And so you've done the work to land right perfectly in the middle, right? You're not the lowest. You're not in poverty. You're certainly not in the 1% of society, right? You're not elite. You don't have complete financial freedom, but you have a little bit disposable income, right? If a trip come up, you can take a trip with the homies once a year. You could do a vacation if you need to. You might even have 1 or 2 investment properties. Like you in the middle, like you're doing pretty decent for yourself, like, and you make it look good, right? Here's the issue. Here's why it's keeping you stuck, okay? When you've worked that hard, to acquire that many things, and when you've worked that hard to acquire that much debt, your tolerance for uncertainty is low. Your tolerance for the unknown is low. You like, I got a house to take care of. I got kids to take care of. Some of them might be in school. You may already be or on your way to being a caregiver for somebody you love. Like there's responsibilities that require you to think long and hard, or so you think, about everything, right? You've worked so hard to be overstretched. You've worked so hard to be at capacity. So now when the God-given assignment is calling you, right? You have to think 2, 3, 5 times about it. You got to overthink every next move you make because you don't feel like you can afford for anything to be unpredictable, unfamiliar, and uncertain. And so when I have seen individuals with this middle class mindset try to do something new, it stalls them because they feel like they have so much to lose. When you feel like you have so much to lose, making decisions that don't have a guaranteed outcome sounds insane. It's a level of risk that the middle set mindset cannot take. The middle class mindset cannot take, excuse me. So here's what has happened in the conversations I've had with you guys over the years. You are so afraid to open your palms and relinquish control. You're white knuckling your whole life. You hold on so tight to everything you have. Lord, I can't afford to not have this job. It stresses me out and I'm absolutely miserable. And I get depressed the moment I walk in the door, but I needed to pay the bills and to pay the debt that I've acquired. I also needed for my identity. I've become accustomed to saying I'm this title and that seniority and that upward mobility is impressive to people. I like the director title that I have. I like the supervisor manager title that I have. I like the partner title that I have. And I've worked so hard to acquire these things and to acquire this debt and to acquire this title and to acquire this seniority and to acquire these perks, and I get this much time off and I get a company car and I get a bonus and I get to boss people around. And I don't want to let that go. Now, I see and hear and feel God calling me to something else, but there's too much uncertainty over there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take baby steps to make it look like I'm trying to move in the obedient direction. But I'm so afraid to let go of control of the middle class life that I built. Thank you, Lorene, that I'm so risk averse. I'm so risk averse. And so I overthink everything because the idea of taking risks where I can't get a guaranteed outcome is too much to bear. And so what's happening is I'm trying to maintain control when the assignment is asking me to have faith. And control and faith are hard. They can't live on the same block. You either want control or you going to have faith. Faith means visibility is low. You have created a life where everything is visible. It's always sunny days and visibility is 10, 20 miles ahead. Faith means that it's going to be a little cloudy and a little foggy for a bit. And I'm only going to be able to see one car length in front of me. And I'm going to have to trust that the next piece of the road is going to be revealed to me. And that's hard. That's hard because I want to be obedient. I really do. God, trust me. I really do. I love you. I pray to you. I tithe. Like I really want to be obedient, but my faith muscle is so weak because my middle class mindset and lifestyle is so high. And so my tolerance for uncertainty is so low. That's the third reason you overthink, in case you didn't catch it. Middle class mindset says my tolerance for uncertainty is so low that it's hard for me to make bold decisions and take bold action because that means I lose control. And when I don't have control, when things are not predictable and familiar and routine, I have a hard time moving because nothing can get out of place or else I won't be able to pay all these bills, keep this house, keep this car, keep this baby in school, right? Keep my image up. Nothing can get out of place. And what you asking me to do, Coach Lisa, is to get things out of place. I just want to be, even though things aren't optimal from a happiness and life satisfaction standpoint, even though I'm not living at the upper echelon of my identity, even though I haven't reached a point of self-actualization, even though all of that is true, I am still unwilling to do something that leaves too much uncertainty on the table because I can't afford to lose all that I've acquired. I'm not willing to release what I have to potentially get more because ain't nobody out here making me a guarantee. Now, what you don't know is that favor follows obedience. So if you understand how obedience works, you realize you ain't got to worry about favor. But that sounds too woo-woo, Lisa. That sound, I need you to spell it out for me. When I put my business out there and when I do this video, at what point will somebody pay me? How long would it take me to get to 10K months? How long before I have my first 6-figure year? Like, I need some better guarantees than that because I'm working this 9 to 5 and they got your girl with a 401k and a retirement plan, and my salary increases by 2.5% every year. Now, that's guaranteed. Like, that's the type of visibility I'm used to. The type of visibility you talking about, one car length ahead, that's unbearable to me. So I overthink everything because my tolerance for uncertainty is so low. Okay. I've accumulated so much that I can no longer take risks. So here's the solution to number 3. We've went through 3 reasons that you overthink. Okay. Here's the third solution. Number 1, explore your desire for so much control. Why does so much control make you feel so safe? Explore that. Number 2, faith muscle, weak. Faith muscle, mad weak. You have to get your faith muscle up. And the only way to get your faith up is to give your faith muscle something to lift. You guys hear me say this all the time. You don't grow muscles by lifting light weight. When you're in the gym, if you want your shoulders to pop, if you want your biceps to pop, if you want your quads and your hamstrings to pop out through the jeans, it's not going to be body weight squats that get you there. You got to get under the Smith machine. You got to get under the bar. Like, you got to get some 40s, some 50s, some 30s in your hand. Like, you got to lift heavier weight anytime you want a muscle to grow. Do you not? That doesn't just work in the physical realm. That doesn't just work in the flesh. That works in the spirit. If you want your faith muscle to grow, give it something to lift. If you're only making decisions that you can do within your own means and your might already, God has nothing to lift. You got to trust him with bigger things. Trust God with your career. Trust God with your relationship. Trust God with your babies. Like, if you're not going to give God something to lift, the faith muscle ain't going to grow because everything you do can be done with the strength you already have. You got to relinquish control. You white knuckling your whole life. You holding on so tight. Holding on so tight. Them knuckles white, boy. You holding on to everything. I got to hold on to this job. I got to hold on to this man. He get on my nerves, but it's not safe. It's not safe to have a conversation about what I really need in this relationship. It's not safe to tell my boss what I really need at this job to thrive. It's not safe to go to the doctor and figure out what this really is. Nothing is safe. You white knuckling your whole life. You like, I don't want to take any risk. If I go get blood work done and find out why my head hurt all the time, that might produce a diagnosis, and the diagnosis might turn my whole life upside down. Your tolerance for uncertainty is so low. It's so low. You white knuckling your whole life. You like, I don't want nothing to change, so I'm not going to have conversations. I'm not going to make tough decisions. I'm not going to get tests done. I'm not going to go to therapy. I'm not starting that business. I'm not going to start that podcast. I'm not doing nothing that is unfamiliar because it's too much uncertainty. And so the third reason you're overthinking everything is because the middle class mindset has a very low tolerance for uncertainty. And unfortunately, the thing God is calling you to do requires uncertainty. So you're overthinking it. But baby, where's the thrill? Man, you know what I don't like about the middle class mindset? And there's nothing wrong with being middle class. I hope y'all catching what I'm saying, right? There's nothing wrong with being middle class. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. The issue is when you middle class and you complain about it. So you proud of everything you acquired, but you want to go to the next level. So you're not willing to risk what you've acquired. And it doesn't work like that. You either got to risk what you have to get more, or you get to stay and keep what you have, but just stop complaining and stop showing up to forums like this, trying to figure out how to get to the next level and keep what you already have. Like, you got to trade that in. You can't drive two cars at once. Am I right about it? You either about to get the 2027 Mercedes or you going to keep the 2012 Mercedes. You can't drive both at the same time. Like you got to trade it in to go to the next level. You can't be so afraid to let go of what you have for what you want. But the middle class mindset teaches us like, no, you work your butt off to get to the middle and then don't risk it. Like, I don't want to speak up in the meeting at work because I don't want to be on their roster. I don't want to be on their hit list. So I'm not going to advocate for myself or I'm not going to advocate for other people in the meeting. I'm just going to sit back and just be proud of what they giving me. Your tolerance for uncertainty. I don't know what's going to happen after I say this, so I'm not going to say nothing. Your tolerance for the unknown is so low, but baby, where's the thrill? That's what I don't like about the middle class mindset. There are no thrills. Everything is like, I need it to be predictable. I need it to be familiar. I need it to be calculated. And so all of this analysis paralysis, because I don't want no thrills. Don't add no color to my life. Like I need everything to stay safe. And now you can't grow. And so when it's time to do something that feels unsafe, you're overthinking it because there are no thrills. There is no color. Everything is just safe and predictable. Like there's too much unknown. What happened if I turn this camera on? I don't know, so I ain't gonna find out. What happens if I tell somebody I'm selling what I used to give away for free? I don't know, and I ain't gonna find out. What happens if I do breach this subject in my marriage that might uproot the whole marriage? I don't know, so I ain't gonna find out. What happens when I go back to that person, my parent, my kid, and tell them how they hurt me so that I can heal from this? I don't know, so I ain't gonna find out. What happens when the gift that everybody been telling me for the past 10 years that I finally decide to activate? But I've been rejected before and people might reject me again. So I don't know and I ain't gonna find out. It is very much given. I don't know and I ain't gonna find out. That's why you overthinking. Where's the thrills, baby? Where is the thrill? When are you going to get out here and add a little color and a little spice to this thing? And then got the nerve. Let's talk about the nerve before we wrap up. And then got the nerve to sit back and watch everybody else having some thrills and be like, dang, how'd she do that? You watching the rest of us life just colorful. You about to uproot. You're going to Princeton. You're going to move to Jersey. Wow, I wish I could do that. You ain't no tree. We the same Homo sapien. You can move just like I can. You got the nerve to sit back and watch everybody else having thrills. And you just like, wow, but I got a kid and I'm a caregiver. Oh, okay. Wow, I wish I could, but no, that's not safe for me. But wow. Like you can go in the same entrance in the amusement park that I go in, baby. Where are the thrills? Where are the thrills? Everything ain't got to be black and white and safe. The reason you overthinking because you so thrill averse. You have a low tolerance for thrills. You want everything to be mundane and safe. Middle class mindset. I think I drove the point home, baby. Give me y'all takeaways. Listen, let's see. Kiavia, my girl. Kiavia, I've been frozen in time on some stuff. That explains it. Yes. You know, we see this with people, right? We say this about celebrities, right? Like they said this about Michael Jackson, did they not? They were like, wow, he's still a kid. Like what? He built an amusement park in his backyard. He never grew up. We said that about Michael Jackson. He's frozen at that age. We tried to make him grow up too fast. He was in the spotlight too young. He never had a chance to enjoy his childhood. And so we say Michael Jackson was frozen in time. Well, baby, you are MJ, honey. You are too. Whole assignment sitting on the shelf because you frozen in time and y'all sitting there judging MJ. You are MJ reincarnated. Let's see. Let's get a few more takeaways. Dami says, stop being afraid to move. Make a decision, connect with someone who does it well and do it. If I want better, do and be better. That's it. That's it. Anytime we think we got a lot of options and a lot to choose from and we can't make a decision, it's just because we don't know what excellence looks like. Once we know what excellence look like in that thing, we'll realize we don't have as much options as we thought we did because excellence requires more of us than we initially thought. And so if you don't have the back end systems, if you don't have the experience, if you don't have the community and the ecosystem, you're just probably not going to be in the top 1% of podcasters, YouTubers, cake bakers, authors, speakers and coach at the same time. Like, you really don't have as many options as you think. You just have a spirit of mediocrity, which means I could do a little bit of all of it at once. But when you execute at the highest level, you realize that every single one of your options has a whole bunch of tails attached to it, has a whole bunch of branches, should I say, attached to it. And everything requires more than what you initially thought. And so when you start doing things at a high level, you'll recognize your options are very, very few. Sharon says, I can't be so afraid to let go of what I have to get what I want. Yes. If that person ain't it, let them go. If she ain't it, let her go. We so like, I don't want to be single. What's wrong with being single? Be single. Let go of what you have if it's not optimal to get what you want. That middle class mindset have us white knuckling stuff that wasn't our first choice in the first place, but we just happy to have something. We're so grateful to have something that we're unwilling to let go. You got to let that thing go. That ain't the best of the best. If something has been calling you to pivot. Stop being disobedient. You got to stop being disobedient, y'all. Okay? All right, let's get one more. Y'all dropping them. Come on now. I love y'all for this. So this is a great question. Let's end here. I'm just going to call you Tyus because I don't want to mispronounce the first name. Istar? I-Star? I'm not sure. But the question is, do you just choose one of the options? Yes, but after knowing what excellence look like for each one. So this is a great place to end for us today, y'all. So Tyus on Facebook says, so do you just choose one of the options? So remember, I said that the first reason people overthink is because they are indecisive, because they think they have too many options. And so how do I choose the one? Well, get familiar with what excellence looks like for each one. And then based on knowing what excellence looks like for each one, that helps you narrow it down, right? So for example, let's say you're trying to choose between pursuing a speaking career full-fledged or going all in on coaching right now, right? Like eventually you can maybe do both, but when you're starting from zero, things have to be built out. It just takes way more activation energy. So let's say you're trying to choose between speaking versus coaching, right? For a new business, okay? Let me increase my proximity to what excellence looks like as a speaker, and let me increase my proximity to what excellence looks like as a coach. And so then I increase my proximity to excellent speaking. And I learn from that person that, oh, if you want to be a great speaker, here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to write proposals. You're going to have to travel a lot. You're going to have to write a bunch of keynotes. You're going to have a back-end system that follows up from every speaking engagement to ensure you are securing that relationship and potentially getting new opportunities. You're going to have an offer from the stage because people, after they hear you speak, are going to want to work with you, and you're going to have to make it something that you can maintain and deliver. You're also going to have to maybe get connected or get into an organization that specializes in speaking, because you're going to need a really nice speaker reel, right? You're going to need a really nice media kit. And then you're going to need a lot of reps. Have you mastered stage presence? Have you mastered the mechanics of speaking? Do you understand? Right. And so you like, oh, I thought speaking just meant somebody going to bring me in and I can just shoot from the hip. No. If speaking is a business, you need to have one keynote that you sell. You need to have offers for consulting or advising to organizations if they really love you and want to keep you. Do you have those offers built out? Right? Do you have all the tech stuff that they're going to ask for when they're thinking about booking you as a speaker? And so, okay, excellence looks like all of that as speaking. That don't just look like calling myself a speaker and showing up to say a few things. Okay, now let me see what excellence as a coach looks like. Oh, I need a whole curriculum. Oh, I need a whole funnel. Oh, I need a whole sales process. Oh, I need a whole qualification process. Oh, I need an ascension offer when they get done with my initial coaching offer. That's what excellence looks like as a coach. It's not me just randomly popping up on a Zoom call and talking, shooting from the hip for every session. I need a whole package. I need to have options. I need a down sell in case they don't take me up on my major coaching offer so that I don't lose them in my ecosystem and they'll buy from me when they're ready. So I need a down sell. I need an ascension offer. You need to know what excellence looks like for every one of the options you're considering. Once you hear all that, you'll decide which hard work you're willing to do right now. You know what? I'm more attractive to writing the proposal, creating a signature keynote, having a back-end customer service funnel to maintain relationships with organizations that book me to speak. And I definitely am in a place in my life where I can afford to travel a lot. So let me pursue the speaking. Or no, with coaching, that's more attractive for me right now based on what excellence looks like. So you see, I hope that helped. Tyus, like understand what excellence means for each one of your options instead of just thinking it's all doable, right? And then now you have what I like to call decision making criteria. Now it's not just based on, well, what sounds fun or what sounds like it'll look good to other people. It's based on, let me fully understand the amount of work that's required to be excellent here. And then now I have decision making criteria. And it's not just my ego making a decision, or it's not my emotions making a decision, but I'm making a decision with criteria now. You know what? My spouse, we're about to have a baby. I actually can't afford to travel right now. I want to be here for the entire pregnancy. I better pursue this other one. You need to know what it takes before you can make a decision. Okay, that's it for me, gang. I just really hope that you got blessed today, especially if you're an overthinker, because a lot of the questions that me and my panel answered at the 1% conference these past couple of days in Chicago were really about people just in their head, in their head, in their head, in their head. And I just wanted to try and maybe give you guys some language, some little framework to get out of your head. So which one do you need to do, right? Is it number one, you need to like filter through your options that's causing you to overthink? Number two, do you need to thaw out because you've frozen in time? Or number three, do you need to evict your middle class mindset and increase your tolerance for uncertainty? Okay. So I hope one of those blessed you. Listen, let me tell y'all something before we hop off. Let me tell you something about the importance of people. For those of you who are really strong, I'm saying this with the most sincerest tone that I can. For those of you who are struggling with accepting help, for those of you who are struggling with allowing other people to be in service to you, heal from whatever is causing that as quickly as possible. I could not have done what I did in Chicago these past couple of days without Kiwi, my right hand, right? Peanut butter to my jelly. Like, there is something so honorable about deciding, not choosing, deciding to be a two-man. And Kiwi does it so well, right? She does it so well. It's only because, number one, of who she is and her belief. And number two, because I'm healthy. Like, you can't have a two-man if the one man is unhealed and doesn't know how to relinquish control and doesn't allow anyone to be in service to them. And then this weekend in Chicago, I also had my entire team there, our coaches inside of our community, right? Tiff, Milan, Carmel. And my mission for them this weekend was not for them to work, but for them to get blessed by the event. And they did. And they did. And so I wanted to make sure that they were getting filled up, because I don't believe in doing all this personal development work as the leader and my team is not getting some of it. So we made sure that they were all in Chicago this week, because if you want to have a good company, if you want to produce good fruit that continues to feed the people for years to come, it's not going to work with just you. You have to have a team of people that support you, but you got to have a team of healthy people that support you. But the only way to have a team of healthy people that support you is you got to be healthy. You got to be healthy. And so the only way I can accept help the way I do is that I work on being who God has called me to be. And I don't get stuck in time when I get disappointed. Look, my current team is not my first team, but what would have happened if I had got frozen in time with the last time I hired somebody? My housekeeper did that. She came and I was like, why you look so tired? She's like, well, I tried to hire help, but it didn't work out. I said, okay, well, did you hire again? No, because I'm just afraid. I said, thaw out. Thaw out. Don't come cleaning my house looking like this again. And guess what happened? The next time she came back, guess what? She was like, I got somebody else. I did exactly what you said. I said, and you should. Like, what a blessing to be the house cleaner or somebody who does business coaching, honey. Because every time my housekeeper come, I'd be coaching her. I'd be like, and did you hire the way I told you? Did you have terms and conditions? Is your training done properly? Because you think the last person didn't work out because it was their fault. Honey, when you take on the responsibility of hiring somebody, you have to be a good leader. You have to know how to train people. You have to know how to teach people what's good and what's great. You have to delegate. There's a science to delegation, right? We'd be so crazy. We hire and we say it didn't work out and we blame them. You was the leader. You the problem. Anyway, Child, I said, don't come back to my house looking like this. You like you can barely drive home. Baby was burnt out, tired, beat down. I said, well, how clean is my floors going to get? Amen. Okay. Like, go get help. I don't want you coming. No, I'm okay. Get help. Get help. Okay. And so she did. I said, you're going to get stuck in that last experience if you don't move quickly. You got to have a new experience to override the last experience. Okay. And I don't need you over here missing spots. Okay. Because mama like a clean home. Amen. Okay. Goodbye, y'all. We getting too far. I'm getting too silly now. Okay. So listen, God bless y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye, y'all.
You tuned in today because, like me, you refuse to let your good become the enemy of your great. You're not settling for good health when optimal is well within reach. If you're ready to go from good to great, visit lisaangelsmith.com to learn more about our plant-based health coaching program, Farm to Table, and our plant-based business accelerator and coaching certification. But before you go, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast. Until next time, remember, radical obedience is still undefeated. Stay obedient.